All right, let's take a look at our second example section here of 2.1, and we're going to talk about the standard form of a quadratic. And so our standard form is right here, a x minus h squared plus k. And we're going to have numbers for a, we're going to have a number for h, we're going to have a number for k. We know that a is not going to be 0. It says so right here. And once again, remember that if a is bigger than 0, if a is positive, then the parabola is going to open up. And if a is less than 0, if a is negative, the parabola opens down. All right, so let's take a look at what we're doing here. We've got an equation, and we want to be able to sketch the graph, identify the vertex, and the axis of our parabola. So what we're going to do on this problem is first get things into the standard form. And what we're going to do here is we're going to complete the square. So this might be a little bit of a review from algebra. F of x equals, we want to get, let me flip back real quick so we can see our standard form, a x minus h squared plus k. So let me rewrite it. A x minus h squared plus k is what we're shooting for our standard form. So we want to have x be multiplied by a number and then k all out by itself. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to group the x's first and just care about the x's. I'm not distributing anything, I'm just putting parentheses around the x's just so that we know we're just talking about those x's. What we're going to do here is we're going to factor out as much as we can so that x squared's by itself. So we can factor a 2 out here. Now we could factor an x out as well, but we don't want to do that because what we need to do here is leave the x squared and the 4x, remember 2 times 4 is 8, and then I'm going to leave a little space in there, plus. What we need to do is complete a perfect square. We still have the 7 hanging out here. If we think back to algebra, a perfect square is when we multiply and add to the same thing. What multiplies, don't know if that's the best way to explain it here. If we did this, I want half of 4. Half of 4 is 2. I'll just show you the steps first and then we'll get to it. Take 4, cut it in half. We get 2. We're going to take that number and we're going to square it. And we get 4. That's the number we're going to plug in here on the end to make it a perfect square. Now remember, we can't just add 4 just miraculously. We have to counter it out. If we add 4 in one place, we would need to minus 4 from the end. The reason we're doing this is that x plus, what's half of 4 again? 2. X plus 2 squared, if we were to do that, x plus 2 times x plus 2, we would get x squared plus 2x plus 2x plus 4. That's x squared plus 4x plus 4. If we square this, we get this. And that's what we're shooting for because now we have a, 2, x minus h. We don't have a minus, so this must be a minus a negative. And then on the end, plus 7 minus 4 is plus 3. We now have it in our standard form. If we go ahead and take a look at this, we can identify the vertex and the axis of the parabola. This parabola is going to open up. I know that because 2 is positive. And I know that my vertex is going to be at negative 2, comma, 3. It's going to be at h, comma, k. And remember that the h is the opposite sign in there. So the last part here is we need to know the axis of the parabola, and what's that saying is where is our line of symmetry? The line of symmetry goes straight up and down. It runs through the x number. So our axis is going to be x equals negative 2. All right, a little tricky, but let's see if you can do it. Try it and press play when you're ready for an answer. All right, here we go. On this one, we are actually ready to go without having to complete the square. What we have right here is we have 1 x minus 0 squared plus 7. The reason we didn't have to complete the square is that there's no x in this. It was plus 0 x's. And so that made it a little easier for us. On this one, we know right away that our parabola opens up. We know that our vertex is at 0, 7. And we know the axis, the line running right through the middle, is x equals 0, otherwise known as the y-axis.